What's up, guys? This is Steve here, and welcome to my page where we are going over my Turo journey. So far I just have the one car on there, and we're in week 3. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so like I said, this is week 3 of my Turo journey, and I have one car on the platform right now. And before we get any farther, real quick, like and subscribe if this is helping you guys out at all, and it'll help me be able to reach more people like you guys that are trying to get in this journey. So let's get back to it. Right now, I'm 3 weeks on the platform, and the first 2 weeks were the last 2 weeks of February. So I listed my car on the 16th. By the 18th, it was already booked, which is great, right? Because no downtime. So the car booked for about a week and a half, the 18th through the 28th. That brought in exactly $154 for those trips in that last week and a half of February. So that leads us straight into March. So right off the bat, March had a booking from March 1st through the 7th. That was the first trip. Then that right after that 7th, when they brought it back, I had the car immediately go out on the 8th, the following day. And that trip was the 8th through the 13th, right? So now, instantly, the car's just constantly out, first week. So on the 13th, that car comes back at 8 a.m., and then goes back out on another trip at noon. So that trip from the 13th goes to the 20th. So right there, my first few weeks of March are booked like that. So this is great, right? Now you're starting to get that cash flow, and we're getting closer and closer to that tipping point where the car isn't costing me anything and it's starting to make me money, right? Because obviously got car payments on it. I think the car payment is roughly $300, and I'll break all this down later on at the end of the month. As of right now, that car is going to make $419. So after I hit that $300 mark, now it's cash flow positive, right? Because I have no overhead right now. I will have to remember to budget for things like oil changes, brakes, any of that maintenance, any of the wear and tear on the car. Once I do have a bigger fleet, I'm going to have to look at parking and all that. But for right now, I'm already cash flow positive on this car. And I still have 2 weeks left for the end of the month for this car to book. So once that 2 weeks is coming, or, once that 2 weeks is booked, I mean, that's just money in the bank, right? So this is why it gets pretty lucrative. People are able to buy more cars. You got to be careful on how you do it. My car is one of the lower end cars. It's still a nice car. If you ever check out the profile, it's super clean, super nice, and majority of the time when people get in it, they don't realize that it's a Civic. Me, currently, it's under $40 a day, and there's different ways you can change and manipulate the pricing. But for right now, I needed to get trips, so I am pricing it the way I can to get it out, but yet still making me money. Now, when this thing's at 100% capacity and I'm able to charge top dollar for this, because now my reviews, everything has gone up, on my trips, I'm a super host, or eventually get to power host, however I want to go with that. I get the amount of trips under my belt to show that I'm basically reliable, and I have the reviews to back it to get that 5-star review. And now people are more willing to rent from me. And it really makes it easier, especially with all these new renters that are coming to the platform. That shows that you're reliable, and you can also help walk them through the process that they need to go for renting a car from you. So it's just a little bit of that customer service that's just going to make you stand out. And once I get to that point where I do have those reviews, I am able to bump up our prices. I mean, it's just all win-win, right? So this is where it can get extremely lucrative. Like I said, I have a lower end car where it's under $40 a day right now. You can get some of those other ones, but just realize those cars, unless you're paying cash for them or you already have them, it comes with a lot more of a big boy payment. Let's just be honest, right? So you can continue up with this idea of, hey, I'm going to keep these big boy payments. Just know that you're going to have to be able to pay for those. Obviously, the cars that are more desirable, as far as exotics or more luxury, people will pay the money for it. So this is a matter of which market do you want to get into, which sub-market do you want to get into of this market that you're already in. Because you're already obviously in the car rental, peer-to-peer sharing business. So you're getting the travel, you're getting the locals, but within that group, which group do you really want to focus on? Do you want to focus over here where you're dealing with the $20 to $40 range, or do you want to go up here where now you got luxuries and exotics. I mean, you can go up to exotics where you're renting it out for a couple $1,000s a day. Or do you want to kind of that mid-range or a little bit higher range? Basically figure out where you want to be. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So I've already researched my area. Within the next couple weeks, I'm definitely going to be bumping up this fleet because this, like I said, can be pretty lucrative. With me, what I'm looking at is sticking at this lower range cars that people are constantly willing to rent out, right? And I will eventually throw in a couple big boys in there just to, dip my toes in that water and see how that goes. But for right now, I know what I can personally take on, and so I'm sticking with that. I'm not overextending myself, and I suggest that you guys don't, that you do the same thing. You don't overextend. Like I said, you can do very well if you go up into this higher market. Just know when this higher market isn't renting, you still have these higher market bills. So it's a matter of, give and take. What are you willing to risk? Obviously, it's just like everybody says, no risk, no reward. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. That's exactly how this all goes with as far as the peer-to-peer. Consistent, and I know that I can take on that kind of risk myself personally. And then I will eventually, once I have a little nest egg, I can start reaching up into those other areas and more luxury cars. But for right now, I know this works for me. I do know for a fact that the luxury does work, but I'm not willing to put all that credit risk on myself right now, right off the bat, because let's face it, from watching the previous videos where my goals are, and quitting your job, I got to have a little bit of, consistency. So that's where I'm at right now. I will get you guys another video here at the end of the month to basically show you one car on Turo, what that looks like, and how you guys can do what I'm doing and basically grow and scale the way you want to. Because let's face it, right now my goal is within the next month, I want at least 9 cars on the platform, if not 12 to 15. But right now I got to stick with the one. I got to get my ducks in a row to scale this, because everything that I'm seeing, people are going out there seeing the profits from the one car, and then they're like, hey, boom, we can make this work. So then they go out and now they max out their credit within a couple weeks, and then they're stagnant. Like now they're just like, okay, well, I can do more physically, but I can't do it financially, and then they're stuck, which I will give you guys tips and tricks and hints to get ahead of that curve right there, which you'll have to stay tuned, and I'll definitely drop a link on how to do all that, because that seems to be the biggest question is, how do I scale? But like I said, for me, I'm sticking right around where I can, and hopefully within the next month, I will have 12 to 15 cars, but realistic hard number goal that I want is 9 cars within the next month, and basically grow the fleet to 12 to 15, but we'll see how that goes. So stick around. I will show you just the one car, how that looks at the end of the month, and I'll also kind of share what's going on throughout the week, or throughout the weeks leading up to the end of the month, because there's obviously a lot more that goes on. Just this month, I have 3 different rentals, and so a lot can change on there. And one of those rentals comes back at 8 o'clock, like I said earlier, comes back at 8 o'clock and then leaves at noon. So I'm praying to God that when this renter brings the car back, it doesn't have the smoking in it like the first renter that I had, which, by the way, go check out another video and I'll tell you how to get rid of that smoke smell, or what to do in case you get smoke in your car. I hope to God that there's not any excessive cleaning that I have to get rid of the smoke smell. And let's face it, I really hope he didn't damage the car at all. But we'll see. It is what it is. We'll just adapt and overcome when that time comes, right? So like I said earlier, if any of this helps you guys out, click that like, smash that subscribe, and hit that little notification bell, so that way you guys can get more of my tips and tricks and kind of follow along on the journey, so you know what to expect when you jump into the Turo business and where you need to be with all these platforms. There's more than just Turo. There is Avi, there's Get Around, there's another one that's called Share out there. People are seeing a market for it, and it's just like Airbnb. And especially coming off of COVID, everybody's kind of getting that mindset, right? They're like, we gotta take what's ours. We gotta go live. We gotta go do what we want. So one way that they're doing this, especially with all those travel restrictions still, they are using peer-to-peer type sharing stuff. So it can be very lucrative. Stick with me. Let's get through this journey together, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.